Nathan, you
I,
back?
I could I could have had dinner.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't know it was going to time me out in an hour. It usually doesn't do that. But I wanted to give you a chance to kind of plug your stuff, where people can find it, that
hmm
kind of stuff, so I can have that on there.
Okay. So you can get our magazine, The Deadly Art of Survival, um, on Amazon. Uh, all you have to do is just type in Deadly Art of Survival magazine. Be careful typing in just Deadly Art of Survival, because what'll come up is the book, The Deadly Art of Survival, which you can get too. Also, my life story, where I'm very transparent in the book. It's a good book. It actually has 5 stars. It actually came out in 2012. So just type in Deadly Art of Survival magazine, not the book, and it'll tell you what to do. You can also go to our website, www.deadlyartofsurvival.com, and you can get our magazine from there. Mhm.
Now, what about your son's stuff? Where can they find that as well?
Which is when you say my son's stuff, you mean Warrior Weekly?
Yes.
Well, that's ours. That's a part 2 of Deadly Art Survival.
Okay.
So you can get it. Same thing, same website. So everything is together. So in conjunction, all it is like a takeoff of the Deadly Art of Survival, just more in the physical aspect. Wherein the Deadly Art of Survival is more about stories and legends of what they've been through and things like that. Wherein the Warrior Weekly is pretty much just about fighting, either the history of fighting or about fighters themselves, and even updating you on fights that's coming up, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, everything. So it's going to let you know about a lot of fighters that people don't even know about that are really good fighters. We got an African gentleman on there, or Bokang. What's his name?
One championship fighter, Boking.
One championship fighter, Bokang, and
Hmm.
excellent fighter. You heard of him before, right?
Yeah, I'm a fan of One Championship. I watch it a lot.
Yeah, so we have him in the magazine. We Ralph Mitchell, who back in the day is one of the toughest bare knuckle kung fu. I don't know if you heard of Ralph Mitchell. Have you heard of
Yeah.
Ralph Mitchell? Sifu Ralph Mitchell. And see, this is what's important about our magazine. The names that you're not here, you don't know about, these guys are coming back, and we're bringing that, we're keeping their legacy alive. This is important. And when I mention different names and people like, I never heard of them. And I say, that's exactly why we started the Deadly Art of Survival. You need to know who these guys are, and I'm tired of hearing the guys having to tell their own story at tournaments and stuff. I want people to be able to read about them. Ralph Mitchell is a prolific Kung Fu fighter from the 60s and 70s who was fighting in a bare knuckle championship against karate fighters like Tayari Casals. You heard of Tayari Casals, right?
No, some of these guys I haven't heard of. Yeah.
Wow, wow. So I know a lot of the people that's on tonight, they heard of these guys, they know who I'm talking about. And it's a shame because Tariq Casals is one of the first kung fu fighters to ever have a big reputation for winning against karate fighters. And and it's amazing that people don't know who he is. And I'm like, I was a fan of his. The first time I seen Tariq Casals fight was in 1974, I believe, and I had fought across the street at the I believe it was at the Manhattan Center on 34th Street, and he fought at Madison Square Garden. And I actually broke my hand the day before, and I had the pleasure of seeing him fight Ralph Mitchell in a full contact fight back then. And I remember I was sold on him from that day. And now you look forward, like fast forward almost 50 years later, nobody heard of him. Like, unless you're a diehard martial arts fan, that's the only way. If you Google him, he'll come up right away. And he was an incredible martial artist. Some of these guys in our magazine, if you read about what they've achieved and that they're all legitimate, this is what I want people to know, that there's martial artists that are out there, martial artists of color, who nobody wants to talk about. You got how many martial artists of color that people don't want to talk about that I want to talk about? I want to talk about these brothers, and you call me whatever you want to call me. The last thing I am is, I'm not even going to have to justify why I do it. I'm giving them the opportunity that have their name out there like anybody else, you know, and we don't discriminate. I want anybody in there that deserves to be in our magazine. If you out there and you're acting a fool, you can never be in our magazine. It ain't happening.
How
Gotta
did the
have
thing with
integrity.
Wesley Snipes come about?
Wesley Snipes is a legitimate martial artist.
Right.
And one of his instructors, Lamar Thornton and Mohalia Bathelia, is two good friend of mine. And I knew he trained under them. A lot of people don't know he trained under them. And Lamar Thornton, who's another New York City legend, him and Sam McGee, who people don't even know about, but this guy did so much for his community. He got drug dealers off the streets in his community training with him. All right. And they became productive citizens. Nobody wants to talk about that. But this guy like a Lamar Thornton did that. Sam McGee did that. Derek Williams, Abdul Aziz did. All these guys did this, but nobody wanted to talk about them. You know, so when it came to Wesley Snipes, the first thing I said, man, this guy he really trained. And and people say, oh, you contradict yourself. You said you wasn't going to have movie stars. No, what I said was I wasn't going to have movie stars that didn't have legitimate background in the arts. So many guys, they make up stories about themselves, but you got guys like Mike Jai White, Wesley Snipes, Todd Atkins. Oh, that's the name, Todd Atkins, the actor. What's his name? I'm not using. I'm sorry. What's the guy name? The other guy Atkins. What's his name?
Oh, Scott Atkins.
Scott Atkins. Him. I'm sorry, Todd.
Yeah.
You look kind of like him though. Well, Scott Atkins. These guys were prolific martial artists. And I don't mind putting guys in a magazine. Like them. Even Claude Van Damme. He was a lot of people don't know he was a fighter prior to coming into the movies. I remember his best movie, in my opinion, that he made was the first one. What was the name of his first movie? It was called
Bloodsport?
No, before Bloodsport.
Kickboxer?
Wasn't Kickboxer. I forgot the name of it. It was his very first movie he debuted in. I thought that was his best movie because he played as like a bodyguard. But his technique was so sharp, and then as he went on,
Time Cop.
say it again?
Time Cop.
It wasn't Time Cop. No Retreat, No Surrender.
Was the first
No Retreat, No Surrender.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You remember that? No Retreat, No Surrender?
Yeah.
That was the name of it. And if you see that movie, he looked really good in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I seen him. I didn't see the whole movie. I just seen like bits and pieces of it. That was one of the few movies I've seen. I think I can name the martial arts movies I've seen. Blood and Bones with Mike Jai White, Enter the Dragon, The Last Dragon, No Retreat, No Surrender. And that's pretty much it for the martial arts movie I've seen.
You didn't watch any of the Shaw Brothers films from Hong Kong?
No. I've heard of them.
Yeah. I was born in 1976, and my daddy got a job in Saudi Arabia when I was young.
Okay.
I was about 6, maybe 6 to 12. And they only have one channel, It would come on, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 o'clock. They'd have like the flag and the King Fahad, and they'd play the music, and then the shows would start. And they'd have like Who's the Boss and, the Cosby, Bill Cosby show, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But at night, usually on Thursday nights, they had Black Belt Theater, and it was a lot of these Hong Kong films. So that's kind of where my exposure first came, was from these Shaw Brothers movies.
Shaw Brothers,
the overdubbed, movies where they had like guys flying around.
I seen pieces of it. My some of my students watched it and they tell me about it. I got to backtrack on what I said, but I did see Anbach. That was, you heard of the Anbach? The movie?
No.
Yeah, you heard of Anbach, right? Mm-hmm. Good movie. Anbach 1 and 2. They had two movies. I did see the first one. I didn't see the second one. But Anbach, that was a good movie. So I seen about 5. Top 5 or 6 movies that I've seen. But I know guys that watch hundreds of those things. I don't know how they.
Yeah,
I don't
my
have the
first
patience to watch.
exposure was to these guys who had like supernatural powers, and you
Oh,
know.
they're jumping over water and
Yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah, 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 exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
But
I
it
was in
looked cool.
Chinatown. Yeah, I remember. I remember teaching in Chinatown. I remember there was a parent that came in there, and he tried to convince me that he had relatives that could do that, and I was just I what wow I wow him to death and stuff, but it's funny if listen, if they can create a Superman, why can't they have somebody jumping over the water? It's okay.
Yeah, to me it was something that was, it was kind of like this fascinating thing to watch, and
Yeah,
that was kind
yeah,
of my first exposure to different martial arts films, was these Shaw Brothers movies out of Hong Kong. And obviously I
wow,
saw the Bruce Lee films too, but yeah, the
yes,
Shaw
yes,
Brothers movies.
wow.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was reflecting a little while when we took the break, and I was reflecting, and I remember when I was saying I feel bad for a lot of another reason why I did the Deadly Art of Survival magazine, and I want to reiterate this to the fans that's watching. One another reason why I did the Deadly Art of Survival magazine is because, like I had stated, a lot of martial artists that was coming up during the 70s and the 60s came from poor neighborhoods, the one that's in our magazine, and they wasn't walking around with 8 millimeter, 16 millimeter cameras. They weren't walking around with cell phones. They didn't have the liberties of being able to take a selfie. Now, I wasn't being funny when I said that. They weren't filming themselves. A lot of them didn't say to their friend, "Listen, come with me so you can film me fight." They just fought. Remember, cell phones didn't come out until the late '80s.
Yeah, and they were
Okay,
like
and you
this
had
big.
guys. Yeah, they were big. They look like big soldier walkie talkies,
Yeah.
and a lot of us didn't have the luxuries that you guys have now. And I've heard people say on the internet. And matter of fact, a guy tried to disrespect me, and he was saying, "Oh, you claim to be this and you claim to be that." And I said, "Buddy, I wasn't walking around with a cell phone like you, filming every little sloppy kick that you throw." I says, I, I said I was busy. We were too busy training to stand there and have a photo session. Now you had guys that at that time did take pictures, but it was Polaroid and they weren't high definition. And these were guys that was kind of just wanted to be seen. And a lot of us in the inner city, we didn't care about being seen. We cared about training. We cared about our students. We cared about being a good example to our students. But we didn't care about, listen, is your mother coming to take a picture of me today? We didn't have that. Or film me while I'm sparring. So don't think that our legacy didn't exist because you didn't see it. You didn't see Abe Lincoln, but you know he exists. you know, you didn't you a lot of things you didn't know about Martin Luther King, but you know from the stories what happened. So, and I'm saying a lot of these guys came up through the era, the 60s and the 70s, and that type of era, we focus on a lot of them because a lot of these guys, I call them up and I ask them, listen, can you be in a magazine that I happen to know are legit? They'll say, Nathan, I don't have too many pictures. And I feel so bad because I was, fortunately, my kids went around and they found a lot of pictures of me from older students that would take pictures of me even when I didn't know they did. They send me pictures and I would post and my kids would post them. I say, oh my God, where'd you get that? Oh, Dad, so-and-so sent that to us. One of my black belts sent about 30 pictures about a couple of months ago, and I almost started crying because I didn't even know these pictures existed. But people would take them on the side while watching me teach. I didn't care about that. So that's why the Deadly Art of Survival is so important, to preserve the legacies of a lot of guys that would not have this chance to be in a magazine.
Well, I appreciate you, taking the time. I find your stuff interesting. I found your
Thank you.
stuff online and your profiles and stuff, and I wanted to bring you on to talk about it because I just found the stuff that you were doing to be very interesting, and I appreciate you taking all the time to talk to me about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate you. A lot of people know I'm not comfortable with this kind of platform because sometimes you don't want people to think you're coming across as arrogant or egotistical. Sharing my story is what this platform is about. And if I came across anybody that guy was bragging, I'm not. I'm just trying to share with you what a lot of us went through that, and we're not able to tell our story. So now they have a platform where they can tell the story. Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to thank you again for taking the time to do this, and
thank you
I
for
look
having
forward
me.
to seeing more of your publications out there.
Thank you, and God's willing, you will. You will. And I appreciate all your fans that's watching, supporters. I don't want to call you fans because I always had a problem with that term fan. But our supporters, we love you. Thank you for supporting us. We hope that we're giving you good material and you're satisfied. And if there's anything that you want to see more of us, you just let us know. You can DM us, and we're here for you. We love you guys, and we want to give you the best. And the best is yet to come. We have so many good additions coming out for the rest of the year. It's going to blow some of you guys' minds who we have in it.
All right. Well, again, Nathan, it was great talking to you. I know it take up a lot of your time, but
it's okay.
I appreciate your time, and
thank you so much.
Man.
And God bless you. Thank you so much.
You too.
Same here.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.